Hi, I'm Austin O'Sheal, and today I'm going to teach you how not to shoot a music video. So for my class, one of the assignments we have to do is we had to either shoot a top 10 video or a music video. Everybody else was doing a top 10, so I was like, you know what? I want to be different. I want to shoot a music video. Bad choice. So I'm going to guide you through the entire process of why you should carefully plan your music video and what not to do and where I made a mistake. I'll even be showing some of the footage from the attempted music video, so you'll get to see a little bit of what I had going on. It was a great idea, an awesome concept, and I still plan on doing it again, but regrettably I made the mistake of many mistakes. 10 mistakes, in fact, and I'm going to be talking about them today, so stay tuned for my top 10 ways not to shoot a music video.
I did that with the phone.
Don't know.
That's you, camera!
So number 10 of the top 10 things not to do in a music video is to have a great idea, but not be willing to have some changes. You gotta be willing to have some small, subtle changes to your original idea. Otherwise, you're gonna be disappointed, as I was. As you can see in the music video, I had a really awesome concept. The talent, who was the lead singer of the band, was completely dressed up in a really cool idea. The idea was that he was going to be dressed up properly, sitting at a dinner table with his family. A few keywords would be said, and then everything would change. He'd be the only one sitting at the table. A few seconds of silence, and then all of a sudden, boom. And you can actually see it came together really, really well. As far as like how the look came, we even took advantage of the chandelier that was there to have it swinging, and he was really into the part. But there was some things that came up that I wasn't willing to change. I had a very strict idea, and my idea of what I wanted for my music video and what he wanted for his music video clashed, and it did not make a good result. So always be willing, one, to kind of change your vision. Always sit down with the artist or whoever you're working with to get their vision and show yours. This artist wasn't very happy with my vision, but by the end he was willing to compromise. So it ended up being really good. So for number 9, you have to make sure that your talents know what they're doing, know their role, and that they take it seriously. It's okay to have fun. It's awesome to have fun. Like, music videos are fun to shoot, fun to make. But they gotta know, they gotta know what they're doing. They gotta know their part in the script, and they have to be dedicated to doing that. One of the problems I ran into is that they were not dedicated to that. So most of the band that was there was just kind of laying around, not doing much, not really involved. The only person who was actually doing anything is the only person on camera at the beginning that you can see, and he went all out. I mean, he did the wardrobe, he had everything going for him, he had the acting, he had the skills, all of that. He had everything perfectly, but the rest of the band didn't really seem to care all that much. They were kind of standing by, helped a little bit with the lights for the most part, but I mean, when they found out that certain things went wrong, they said, I'm done and I'm out of here. So for number 8, make sure your talent knows to practice lip syncing several days before the actual shoot. So I'm going to throw up some footage here in just a moment, and you can see that the talent doesn't really, he doesn't really seem to know what he's doing. He doesn't even really know when his own song starts, because I'll start it on my phone so he can listen and sing along to it, and he doesn't really know when it starts. He doesn't know the timing for it very well, which is understandable. It's one thing to perform, it's another thing to copy what you've already done. Anyone knows that doing the same thing over and over and over is very difficult, and so that's one of the cool things about lip syncing is that you don't have to repeat it and get a version that isn't near as good as the original. He wasn't very practiced, and it's not his fault. I should have told him to do this. He had no idea to do this. This is entirely on you to make sure they do it. Alright, for number 7, don't be afraid to create your own set. In fact, always try to do something to a set. Don't just walk into a room and say, I'm going to have him sit in that chair and everything's going to be over there because it's there. Don't do that. So if you look at the set we have real quick, we did do a couple minor changes. Like we moved some things around, but for the most part we didn't make our own set, which was limiting because you had that big window in the background, and that's one thing we'll talk about in the next section of lighting. You can see that big light, the big LED light right there in the window, and none of us noticed it because we didn't take the time to organize the set. Take the time, organize the set, get the perfect location. The location can make the video. Alright, so for number 6, create your own light setup. Don't get lazy and don't compromise. Lighting is the most important part of a set aside from acting and camera work. It's the big 3. The holy trinity of video are those 3, and they are all equal. You have to make sure that you always get the lighting precise as well as getting the video and the acting precise. Audio, video, lighting. That's what makes a film, that's what makes a music video, and I neglected that. You can see that in the kind of the top corner. I used one light, which can be fine. You can use one light very well. But instead of bouncing it off something or like blocking up the window, I just pointed it directly at him, got it to a point where I felt like I could stand it. And then you had this big blinding light in the background. If you can see over the video, it's right there. I could mask over that, but in all reality, masking is a great tool when you have no other choice. But if you do it just as, you just want to do it and you're too lazy to do it, it's bad. That's just do what you can on the field. Be a perfectionist on the field. Not saying don't compromise in how you do the script or your story, but don't compromise in quality, because that's your name, so you're sticking out there. And I'm kind of using this as an example of why I didn't publish this video and why I didn't continue to work on this video. And the biggest reasons are still to come. Alright, so number 5. This was the biggest problem for me on the set. Well, right about the biggest problem on the set for me. And that problem was make sure, number 5, that the band members actually show up. We had a whole fourth of the band. That was a 4-man band, but one man out of the 4-man band not showing up can destroy everything. And it did. It certainly did. Without him, we could only shoot maybe a third of the video, if that, just the very beginning. And he had a key role in the video, and he didn't show up. They called, they texted him. He hasn't responded in a week still. Concerning. We do hope he is safe, but we have no idea what happened to the guy. So number 4, and this comes down to you as a videographer or cinematographer, whatever you call yourself. When it all comes down to is this is a character trait. Make sure that the owner of the property you're shooting on is aware of your need for production. So of course we had permission to shoot on property, but what we didn't have was an understanding of what we were doing. So midway through the shoot, you may not be able to hear it because of audio reasons, but midway through the shoot, family members came in and started moving things. Taking things away. Turns out that that family had sold many of their things to other family members and had given them away. They were planning a move, including the kitchen table that you see in the shot. So please do make sure that they understand what you're doing, what you need from them, and then in turn able to get all of that, and everything just flows so much better from there. Because when the owner of the property is there like working and doing things, and you need to be recording with absolute silence and getting the absolute pristine quality of audio that you need, it's kind of a loss. Alright, so for number 3, which this is not a common sense thing. This has happened to me and several other people. When you are not using your own equipment and you're borrowing someone else's, make sure that your equipment is compatible. I had a problem because the camera I was shooting on, Panasonic Lumix G7, it uses 3.5 millimeter, just standard headphone jack. And I had a mic that was XLR, which records, just the same, but it's completely different jack. I had a converter that I got. I was like, well, this would work just as fine. The only problem is that the converter didn't mount to anything, so it was just kind of dangling there. And couldn't get it to work. So the audio was completely gone. Now thankfully for a music video, it doesn't really matter all that much about the audio, but it matters enough to where that was a fairly annoying, and it would have messed up audio syncing and would have just made a headache when we were already having so many problems. So make sure that your equipment is compatible. So number 2, I mentioned earlier, and this is key to having just an enjoyable music video, and that is to keep it fun. Mine was so stressful because so many things were going wrong, and I had this wonderful vision that turned to dust. And that's just a reality of video, and that's something I didn't understand at the time, is that stuff happens and you have to get over it, and you have to just work with it and just keep going. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's kind of leading to point number 1, but just keep it fun, make it an enjoyable experience for everyone, and you just can't go wrong like that. And then finally, when we finally come to the end of the video, the number 1 problem with the entire project, and the one thing that can ruin anything, not just a music video, but especially a music video, is time. Deadlines are stupid. Don't have them if you can avoid it. This project didn't expect this level of like music video. It didn't it expected something not simple by any means, but not quite a full-fledged music video. And because of that, the time limit made sense. But I wanted to take it further, as I always tend to do. And because of that, I made unrealistic expectations for myself that just ended up falling flat to the ground. It was a terrible mistake to try to do that type of thing. It made me look like a fool because I didn't know what I was doing. And so that's what I'm trying to do to save you. Listen to this video and take it all to heart so that you don't do the exact same thing that I did, because you probably will otherwise. You got to take your time, keep it fun, remember all of the other rules, and it's such an enjoyable experience to shoot a music video. Thank you all so much for watching. I made this for you because I don't want you to go through this. I've already gone through it, and hopefully I'll learn my lesson from now on. So I ended up doing a top 10 like everyone else, but I hope that I made it a little bit more special and entertaining. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you later.